So, from researching the roles, was there anything you were surprised or shocked to learn about the Second World War that you didn't know already?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm like, I try to, look at like Wikipedia and all this stuff, and I'm like, there's not a lot on like, Latin people in World War II, and at least in American history. And I talked it over with Dave, and it's like, that's why it was cool to just to be in any frame, to like acknowledge those guys that actually did fight in World War II.
What about you, John?
Yeah, I thought that not just about World War II. Excuse me. I thought that there was three kind of levels to the research in this movie. I thought that there was the personal research that you did on your own. Reading books, Another Bridge, Another Town, Death Traps. Books on tanking. Understanding the time period. And then there was a part of the research that was, the boot camp, the sparring, the unbelievably elaborate rehearsals that we had, the really, really understanding the tank itself and getting proficient on it. Anything the tank did in this movie, Mike was driving. I was loading, Shia was operating the turret and firing, Brad was commanding it. So that was a huge part of the research, just getting proficient and learning how to be a soldier. And the third part of the research, I think, was really research into each other and research really investing in this group and in this family, because that's what this movie's about at the end of the day. It's a family drama. And that took its own, that was its own part and really required in-depth research into each other, figuring out how we operated as a group and as a team.
Because did David put you through any specific bonding exercises, to get that right?
Yeah, boot camp was one of them. It's crazy because like you sleep like 2 hours a night, maybe 3, whatever, and then you wake up 5 o'clock in the morning and you have to exercise before even having breakfast, and everybody breaks, and then you have your friends that pick you up, and that was a huge bonding. Also the sparring, you know what I mean? Like you see professional fighters like in the 12th round, like once the bell rings, they have a lot of respect for each other. And so those two things really helped out. And plus, we were together almost every day.
And of course, you've worked with David before and he's new to you, but how does he differ to other directors you guys have worked with in terms of his approach?
For me, he does what so many filmmakers try to do and fail. He makes movies about men, real men. He tackles issues and themes of brotherhood and loyalty and courage and male friendship. And I think so many people kind of try to make these kinds of movies but fail. And I think the reason why David can do them so well is, one, obviously he's enormously talented, but two, he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. And he demands full commitment. He told us when we were making this movie, make this movie like it's the last movie you'll ever make. There's no amount of commitment that would be too much for him. So there's just that kind of energy on set, and this was an 8-month process, so it was 8 months of full immersion, and it's not just, hey guys, like I really want this effort from you. It's, you're going to do this. This is the way it's going to be. And I think it comes from him being a vet, and it comes from, the life experiences he's had.
And sort of filming in the real tank and then on the set, that must have been a terrific help in getting that claustrophobic feeling. But how did you cope with it in a way?
You get used to it after a while, right?
I mean, it was tough. I'm like, for sure. We shot most of the exterior stuff first, and then we went inside because I'm like, I guess it took them like a bit to like make up the set. But it was rough. I'm like, we would still run the scenes, while we were, operating the tank, and it really informed. But there was a lot of rehearsal in this movie, and we really wanted to formulate this bond, and make it about a dysfunctional family.
Because did you actually get to drive the tank? What was that like?
Yeah. Daddy drove it.
And how was that experience?
It was great.
He's awesome.
What was awesome is like 3rd gear, 4th gear, like going really fast, like, or whatever you consider fast in a tank. Like 30 miles an hour is like really fast in the tank.
And this is one of those, war films that's going to become part of the pantheon, part of the iconic war films. But for you guys, what are the touchstones? What are your iconic war movies?
Oh, I love Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, me too. I love a lot of the Vietnam movies.
Platoon's good.
Platoon, Full Metal Jacket. I think this movie was sort of made in that vein a little bit more. I think oftentimes World War II movies about American soldiers, Allied soldiers and American soldiers especially, I think have been portrayed as these kind of steel-jawed, fearless, super heroic guys, and none of us would argue with the fact that they were heroes. But what we try to do in this movie is we try to portray the fear, and we try to portray how war-torn and battle-weary they are, and they go forward anyway, and we try to show the hardship and the fact that they go on, they move forward. That's what's truly heroic, is how beat up they are, and they move forward for each other. And we think that there's something very universal about being a soldier that we really touch upon, and that is, at the end of the day, you're there fighting for the guy next to you.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, right on.